Hey, what's up, guys? It's Akeyles, and I want to talk about this subject that people were talking about on this podcast that I was listening to. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I decided to give this one a try. There was a lot of console dudes on there, and they had one PC guy on there, and he decided to ask the PC guy, "Can you make Xbox One X um, equivalent PC for $500?" And the PC guy, he didn't do his research prior to the thing because it was just a spur of the moment question. So he didn't do any research. It didn't seem like he did. So I decided, let me go ahead and look into it myself and do a little research and then go ahead and drop this video. So the first thing I decided to look at into was the processor, the CPU, and I, ran straight into problems because the Xbox One X has a custom CPU that clocks at 2.3 and has 8 cores. So I did end up finding processors that met that criteria, but these processors were Xeon processors, so they were for workstation servers, and they just weren't ideal for playing games, and they cost $250. So I ended up deciding to go with processors that were cheaper, commercial grade, and faster and better. So, what's the most reliable answer for processor? It would be the AMD FX-8300. It is 3.3 gigahertz with 8 cores. So, you're getting one whole gigahertz more than with the Xbox One X for $105 compared to the 250 to match it. So, with the CPU part down, I decided to move on to memory, and this is where it got a little bit tricky because the Xbox One X has 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM, right? So you ask yourself, how can you translate that over to a PC? And the answer that I came up with was that this 12 gigs of GDDR5 RAM, since GDDR5 RAM is equivalent speed to DDR3 according to the Wikia page that I looked up. So if I get 8 gigs of RAM, that means I have to get 4 gigs a minimum on my GPU to make it a total of 12 gigs. And I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but basically I was going 8 gigs of DDR3 RAM, and then whatever my GPU um, comes with, I was going to add that together. So with the memory figured out, I decided to go and look up the GPU, the graphics card. And again, I couldn't find an exact match, but I found two pretty close answers for the GPU, and that would be like the RX 480 or the RX 580. The RX 480 specs are very close, very similar. The clock speed on the 480 is a little bit less, and it has a little bit less computing units. It has 36, and then the Xbox has 40. But you can overclock the RX 480 to make it faster, and somewhat closing the gap. And for the RX 580, you can definitely, even without our overclocking, the speeds are a lot faster, even though it has less compute units. So it's not on the dot, but it's right there similar. Alright, so I've done all the research, I decided what card I want, and then bam, another big problem. I can't find the RX 580 at MSRP, which is 230. All the prices are are $400, $350, $300. Why is this skyrocket? Oh well, there's this thing called mining, which uses AMD cards. You can also use AMD NVIDIA cards for it, but most of the software specializes in AMD, and you run this program night and day, and you get money back from it, and it's called mining. Just a quick summary of it, because going into it would be a whole other video. But anyway, this thing has blown up, and all the RX 580s, all the RX 480s are pretty much gone. And the only place you can really buy one is from a reseller. Now, I wanted to stick with the AMD side because they're generally cheaper, and the price, and it's easier to compare when the Xbox One X is made in AMD. They use the same technology. It's easier to compare. But the closest thing I can find from the NVIDIA side would be the 1060, which is actually not a bad price right now. It's at $250, and you know, it's not ideal. They come in 3 and 6 gigs, which I think is weird because it's not even. But I'll add one more, 1 gig RAM to my build, and then we have everything that we need to, well, for the basics, the hard part done. The rest is the motherboard, which shouldn't be hard, the operating system, and now it's the part that is debatable. A lot of people will say you'll never use it. It's the optical drive. Now, me personally, you're never going to be using this optical drive for the most part if you're PC gaming, only on this rig. Now, if you're making a multimedia machine, then you can have a strong argument that the optical drive is going to be useful. Me personally, I would never build a PC. In fact, most cases nowadays don't even come with the optical drive slot anymore. But if you were to look for it, and it's hard to even find, you can find one on eBay for $80, so it's still iffy. I'm not gonna go ahead and throw into the build, but if you do want to throw into the build, just add $80 to whatever total I get. But like I said, I can't. It's not. It's not practical to buy a optical drive for your new PC, because you buying your most of your content digital. It's not really physical, and even the HD Blu-ray movies that you buy, you'll probably buy them off of iTunes or Amazon digitally, or you have those options. Okay, so my verdict, and this verdict is gonna be without a monitor, without mouse and keyboard, because you would, for a console, for the Xbox One X, you would have to buy a controller. Well, they usually come with one, but I'm still gonna leave all that stuff out, like monitors and things like that, because that's not the console itself. I mean, you can make the argument, but then again, you can get a mouse and keyboard at Goodwill for $1, $2. You could go to the nearest recycling, company. I work at one, so I would give you a mouse and keyboard if you needed it, or you could buy one for there. It wouldn't be more than $5 for the mouse and keyboard. You can go on eBay and find really good cheap ones. So I'm gonna add that to it. But okay, so total price for just the desktop itself, it hit me at about $679 with the mail-in rebate and shipping. So when you ask yourself, or in conclusion, can you buy a Xbox equivalent PC, period, for 500 under? I would say no. I would say you couldn't even buy an equivalent PC because the processor, the processor on the Xbox One X is custom and it's cheaper. It's the cheapest thing. You can't buy anything like it. Um, and because it's made differently, you can only buy something more powerful. Um, processors more powerful. The GPU is a little bit more powerful. And you can easily knock off $80 because of Microsoft Windows 10. You could probably get that a lot cheaper than $80. I was just going with what PC Part Picker went with. You can get it for $20 actually, or you can get a lot less from the Bay. But just to wrap this up, you can't buy a Xbox equivalent, but you can get a little bit more powerful component for $100 more. And another thing I want to add on to it is because they were listing 4K as a feature, and technically it's not. It's not in the Xbox One for the most part. Most of the games that the Xbox One X are promoting as 4K, they're 4K checkerboarded, or it's not, most of them not native 4K. And I believe that whatever is native 4K can most likely run on this PC native 4K. And if PC ever gets checkerboarding, or if the game developers decide to use those same features that they're making in the other games and bring them to the PC part of games, who knows how the future will be. So relatively, we won't know if this computer will be able to run 4K checkerboarding, if that's ever a feature in the future. But yeah. Let me go ahead and end it here, guys. If you have any comments, anything, if you're trying to double check my math or anything like that, drop a comment down below. Let me know where I fucked up, or let me know if this was actually helpful. Also, if you guys are looking for a new PC and you don't have $600, or you want a beast PC and you also want to build your credit up, check out Xidax. I'm gonna drop a link down at the bottom. This place allows you to pick your parts, they build it for you, and then they have financing options that will help out your credit. So go ahead and check that out too.